acupuncture treatment room, but Rachel Genner from Warwick once saw the practice merely as a last resort. Having suffered from debilitating migraines from the age of 12, Rachel eagerly accepted an invitation for acupuncture.
I just assumed that she would have done a course that would have given her the skills and knowledge that she needed to do acupuncture. She put about 25 needles just in the top of my neck and the top of my shoulders, but they became really painful, and I said to her, I can't take it anymore, would you please take the needles out? And I just felt really poorly.
Acupuncture is a traditional practice which began in China in around 100 BC and involves needles being inserted into the body to relieve pain. It began to be taken seriously in Britain in the 1950s. Acupuncture became available on the NHS in 1982, but access is still limited and most people seek private alternatives. In 1999, the World Health Organization published the guidelines on basic training and safety in acupuncture, including a minimum of 3,600 hours of training. In the late noughties, attempts were made to gain statutory regulation for acupuncture, but these were rejected by the government. Rachel's negative experience inspired her to pursue a career in acupuncture, so she signed up to a degree course at the Acupuncture Academy in Leamington Spa. It's one of 7 centres across the country which offer accredited courses under the British Acupuncture Council. Students spend 3 years training to become fully qualified, but once they finish, they're competing against others who have undertaken short courses elsewhere.
So we know some of these short courses can be as short as like 96 hours contact time. It's also worrying for us because, you know, we are seeing more and more people coming with more and more medical conditions that are more scary, and mental health crisis and things, and our students are educated on how to deal with that, where they need to refer to, but also when to stop treatment and when somebody might need to be referred elsewhere.
Acupuncturists can only practice if they're granted a licence by the local council. It's a case of filling in an application form before a visit from an inspector to check the premises. Some say regulation needs to be more stringent.
Councils are giving these people that have done really short courses their licences, and the general public are trusting that these people are qualified, but what they're not actually doing is they're not checking, no one's actually doing background checks on each person and what their qualifications were. Councils are going out and they're just checking that the room's safe, that they've got sharps boxes, but they're not checking the amount of hours they've done in practice.
It's a view echoed by the British Acupuncture Council, a voluntary regulated board which is endorsed by the NHS.
They don't help the public differentiate between different levels of training, and therefore you don't know if your practitioner
sausages, roasters,
maintains minimum standards of hygiene and can safely needle a patient as a trusted healthcare practitioner.
Back in Warwick, Rachel is urging anyone looking for acupuncture to ask to see a certificate before agreeing to treatment.
I think it's really frightening to know that there are people out there doing these short courses. If I'd have known how I was going to feel after that session, I would never have gone for that session. I would have researched and I would have gone to a practitioner who has got the full qualifications.
Rachel hopes that by sharing her experience, others will take time to ensure they're getting the safest treatment possible.
Well, Hannah joins us now, and we heard there from Rachel with her painful experience of acupuncture. But what are some of the other risks associated with acupuncture?
Well, acupuncture can be dangerous.
It will be after half past because I will have to rewind it back to get the full report. So that's why.
Cancer and have had lymph nodes removed. There are areas
so that's why we will be on the meeting a bit later.
And that could cause lymphedema, which is a really painful swelling of the tissue.
Okay, now those short courses that we heard about, they're legal, aren't they? So what have people who run them said about this?
So I've been talking to multiple people that run these short courses, and a lot of them argue that it actually doesn't take that long to learn those health and safety procedures. I was speaking to a man called Jamie Hedges who runs an 8 to 12 month course at a place called the Healing and Acupuncture.
Yeah, look there. Yeah, that's why.
College. Now he says that his course ensures that students are safe and skilled at diagnosis, point location and also needle skills, and that students are assessed with a written and a practical exam with an independent examiner.
And what's the British Acupuncture Council calling for? I mean, what does the government want to say about this?
Well, Alex Jacobs from the British Acupuncture Council, who featured in my piece, he's calling for 3 things from the government. He wants the government to more strongly support existing systems of regulation and to increase public awareness of acupuncture. He also wants them to recognise the role of accredited registers like the British Acupuncture Council in addressing the NHS workforce crisis. So that means if someone's going to the doctors with a migraine or a neck ache, that doctors will signpost them towards acupuncturists, and hopefully that will relieve some pressure on healthcare workers. And finally, he wants the government to review what he calls an outdated licensing system. Now, acupuncture comes under the same bracket as things like skin piercings and tattooing, so it feels like acupuncturists want acupuncture to be more widely recognised as what it is, and also they want it to be added to the allied health list. So I put those things that Alex said to the government, and they said that they are currently considering next steps on professional regulation and will set those out in due course. And Warwick District Council have also said that it will welcome those new powers should they be introduced.
Hannah, thank you very much.
15.
Yeah.
Just recently, a leading consultant
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will now.
told the inquiry about his fears.
Yeah, we will now.
It's likely that
Well,
Leppy didn't start becoming a killer.
yeah, we will be going on TV
Didn't start harming
the
babies.
Midlands News at half.
But a number of experts have challenged the evidence used to convict the nurse. Her new barrister says she continues to maintain her innocence and has accused the police of media leaks about the new investigation.
Lucy would want me to maintain her innocence, that she has never harmed any child at all. Now, she was voluntarily asked to attend an interview, which she voluntarily did. She was never arrested, and she has not been charged. They're serious allegations, they had to be acted upon. My disappointment is that it was briefed and leaked to the media.
Her new legal team plan to take her case to the Criminal Cases Review Commission, which investigates alleged miscarriages of justice. Earlier this year, she was refused leave to appeal her convictions, which means that nothing changes. She will die in jail.
Good.
Elaine Wilcox reporting there. There'll be more on this story on the ITV Evening News, which is after us with Lucrezia Ballerini, where there's all the rest of the day's news too.
Police are investigating after a man and a teenage boy was stabbed on a bus in Birmingham. Officers were called to Colebrook Road in Spark Hill at around 3:15 this afternoon. A 17-year-old boy and a 32-year-old man are both in hospital in a serious condition.
Now, if you travel by train regularly, you've probably heard those announcements telling you what to do if you see something that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, and even on
The
the bus as
campaign
well.
by the British Transport Police encourages people to text concerns to 61016.
Well, messages are now free to send, and officers hope it'll encourage more people to report things that need investigating. But does it work? And what happens to your messages when they're sent? James Webster has been to National Control Centre in Birmingham to find out.
If you see something that doesn't look right, it is a message played thousands of times every day.
Text the British Transport Police on 61016.
And one that's repeated on signs across the train network.
We'll sort it. See it, say it, sorted.
And whether you're here in the Midlands or travelling further afield, your messages are sent to this National Control Centre in Birmingham.
Minimum, there'll always be one person, most of the time, it says 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
This year, they've received more than 200,000 messages. Among them on the day we're filming is one that needs immediate attention.
So earlier today we received a report from a female saying she did sexually harass while on the train. We have responded to her straight away to gather further information.
The main phone networks have now agreed to make text messages sent to 61016 free of charge, a change the Chief Constable hopes will lead to more people making reports.
For some of the offending that takes place, particularly in relation to sexual offending, violence against women and girls, often I think we hear that people prefer the discreet method to be able to contact us rather than to make a telephone call. The second bit is it's an opportunity for people to report, any unwelcome behaviour, criminality, and it provides a very good intelligence picture to us.
So, here in our region, how confident are passengers in what to report? We've been asking people at Birmingham New Street.
For instance, if there's rowdy behaviour, sort of thing, or unusual bags left lying about, then yeah, I will phone them.
If something's not right, then, it's not the case just to think about yourself, but think about other people.
I've never had to personally use it, but I know that if it came to it, I could use it if I really need to.
Do you want anything needs to know?
Police HQ, where any reports that need immediate action are passed to this control room where CID can oversee investigations.
The text messages have provided us with crucial information such as descriptions of suspects, hotspot locations where we know suspects might operate. This helps us to inform the patrols that we do.
And that message from earlier is one such case.
The CID has called the informant. We were able to locate the train service, ordered the CCTV, got the description of the suspect, which was passed over to all the rail companies as well, and they're looking into it now. Because the female was really distressed, so she's been referred to a victim services available for them.
From here they can even dial into CCTV to watch as officers respond.
It is my responsibility as the Chief Constable to make sure that we are creating a hostile environment across the railways for people intent on causing harm, criminality. If the public work together with us to let us know, then we can jointly with the public, create a safer railway.
The message here is simple. Your text will be read and it will get an appropriate response. The team hopes more passengers will have the confidence to use the system when they see something that doesn't look right. James Webster, ITV News.
It is nice. I always like seeing what happens behind the scenes because you see the signs and now you actually know what happens afterwards.
Yeah, and you mentioned the signs. See it, say it, sorted. Big debate earlier. Some people thought it was see it, say it, sort it.
Yeah, I was one of those people. Whenever I heard it, I thought that's what it... because it made sense, the three its.
Well, yeah, the its make sense, but I think the message might be that if you say sorted at the end, people think, well, I've just got to sort it out myself.
Yeah, no, that is true. But it shows that the fact that we had a debate over what the word was shows that we obviously listening, and it's working. That's what we need.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Now we know. Sorted. Still to come here on ITV News Central, the bus lane that is costing drivers millions in Wolverhampton.
The battle between two Midlands clubs to top the League Two table.
And after a quieter couple of days, it is now low pressure.
Now it's going to rain and it's going to be heavy and it's going to stink. Yeah, and we're all going to stink. Good rain.
Now, he is one of the world's best-known playwrights, and he is from right here in the Midlands. But it seems that students may be falling out of love with studying Shakespeare. Recent reports show that the interest in taking English literature is on the decline. Fewer students are choosing the subject at A-level, and the number of people studying it at university fell by a third between 2011 and 2021.
This is leaving experts concerned. Decline in
Yeah, not doing literature.
A huge gap in the future generations of writers, poets, journalists and teachers.
Yeah, but if you want to do literature, you don't have to. You can't force somebody to do it.
Macbeth, An Inspector Calls and The Great Gatsby. Those are just some of the texts that many GCSE and A-level students studying English literature will be familiar with. It's texts like these, though, that many people say are turning the younger generation away from the subject.
I love English.
Experts like Dr. Eleanor Dobson from
I love English. If I could be a teacher, I would be an English teacher.
Studying 3 years for a degree.
No, thank you.
You want to make the most of it, and you want
No,
to
thank
have the most
you.
intellectually rewarding experience.
No, because I want to help. I want to help children around me anyway.
History, languages, art. Study the thing that you love. There are
I'm not being a teacher. I'm sticking to learning mental. Because I'm helping.
At this school, teachers say they've never seen
But
the
if you're a
uptake
teacher,
in
it's not.
subjects so...
No, you know me like support.
Well, you want to be a supportive person.
Yeah, not be a teacher. You have to stand there and then you have to.
literature course, that simply wasn't the take-up for it.
From GCSEs, people just see it as a very hard subject, so they think it's going to be the same for A-levels. I mean, it is, but it just depends on how you see it and how you deal with it.
I think the GCSE is quite... Obviously, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but some of the stuff they get you to do is a bit crass.
English is quite stereotypically boring, especially like in GCSE where you have to learn loads of quotes, even though it's not really about that. It's mainly about actually using the skills and analysing, so learning quotes just kind of makes it seem really useless.
Maths is more useless. Maths is more useless.
GCSEs are no longer fit for purpose.
No, it's not.
It recommends a complete
If you want
recall
to go
of the way
shopping,
subject is taught, and even
not
suggests
use maths.
swapping out Shakespeare for more contemporary
Yes. You would need maths.
GCSEs inspire a form of teaching which is rather like drills. The teacher tells you and you give them the answer. But in fact, English is a subject about dialogue and about experience and bringing your own life to the reading of the texts.
The government says that it's reviewing the current curriculum to ensure that students are ready for work and ready for life. But with more and more students closing the book on English literature, changing the curriculum all the way it's taught may be the only way to keep the story going. Catherine Senai, ITV News.
It's interesting.
And get rid of English. You can't get rid of English.
Literature and language for A-level was like a new one to the school. It was good, so you did a bit more like spoken word.
Yes.
But I do understand, you know.
You can't get rid of English.
That's not a bit I
Rather
enjoy.
than just enjoying reading it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people lose a bit of that enjoyment for it because after you've read a book, then you've got to analyse the symbolism in it. It's a bit harder.
Yeah, I'm always telling people I was a late developer because at school I could not get into, Shakespeare, anything like that. It was just like, what is this? I want to read my fun stuff. In fact, with Shakespeare, in the last couple of years, I got lucky enough to go to the theatre in Stratford, which interested me, and then we had Ben Elton in here as a guest, the comedian, big Shakespeare fan, and he enthused me for it as well, and I have a little bit more. Getting some grasp.
So they need to get that into that enthusiasm. Then it will all be fine.
Now, there are calls for an investigation into a bus lane in Wolverhampton which has earned the council around £1.8 million over the past 4 years.
Victoria Square bus gate close to the train station in the city centre is said to be catching tens of drivers each day, earning the council at least £35 per fine. Now those against it say the layout is confusing and it needs to be looked at. Lee Comley waits to investigate.
Arriving this morning, it didn't take us long to spot some drivers who'll be getting a letter in the post in the lead up to Christmas. Driving through the bus gate here in Wolverhampton city centre and earning themselves a fine of £70. That's reduced to £35 if they pay within 3 weeks. We caught a couple on camera, and while filming close by, we saw several more throughout the day. There's questions being asked about the amount being raised by this one tiny area. So if we just break down the figures a little bit, this southbound route up to Victoria Square has reportedly earned the council over the past 4 years around £780,000. Meanwhile, on this side, which is the northbound route, we're approaching almost £1.1 million. So in total, that's a vast sum of money from both sides. And the question is, why are so many people getting caught out? Well, there are plenty of signs here. The blue circle showing that it's trams and buses that are allowed along this particular stretch, and signs showing that there are bus lane cameras. It's being argued, though, that the layout is confusing, and even that there are too many different signs, bombarding drivers who might not know the area.
You come into Friar Street, within 10-20 yards, you have a number of signs that you have to look at, understand, and before you know it, you're actually at the bus gate. And if you get into the bus gate, you will be fined. I think needs to be looked at, needs to be reviewed, and we need to help the driver because we need people coming into Wolverhampton.
We spoke to people who travel locally and asked whether they were put off from driving around the city.
I'm too scared because there's bus lines everywhere, there's one-way streets and that. I'm just too scared to do it now.
It's not particularly clear that it's a bus lane. I mean, there are plenty of signs I can see.
In a town centre, I think it needs to be made more clear, and maybe more pedestrian zones, I don't know.
Seemingly high-earning bus gates and lanes aren't unusual. One in Coventry, for example, on Hale Street, earned the council there £500,000 in the first 6 months it was opened, from June of last year. This, of course, opens up wider questions. Do these restrictions need to be made clearer, or do we, as drivers, need to pay more attention? But ultimately, if these supposed deterrents are earning millions, are they really doing their job?
Well, there's a thought. Well, we can cross to Lee Comley's at the bus gate in Wolverhampton for us now. Lee, what has the council said? And you know what? The question we all want to know the answer to, what is happening with all that money?
Well, the council are basically saying that bus lanes like this one here are about keeping areas like this clear for public transport during winter times, and also encouraging more people to use public transport. Earlier in a statement they said to us, bus lanes support the council's legal duty to provide safe and efficient traffic movement. Clear signage and road markings are in place showing where the bus lanes are. These signs conform with national legislation on design and location to avoid confusion, and the income generated by these fines is used to cover enforcement costs. So they're saying these signs aren't confusing and that they are legal, and that the money raised goes back into
was it again? No, I'm not going to do that.
council's accounts. So, well,
I'm not going to do that
lanes
again.
like this across our region aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So
No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do Buddy Button.
Lee, thank you very much for being South and Umbrella.
Well, to football now, and you can forget the Premier League for a moment because the real football story right now is in League Two, where both Midland sides, Port Vale and Walsall, are vying for the top spots.
Both played against Cheltenham Town and Notts County, respectively, last night, with Vale and the Sanders switching positions in the table as the night progressed. What's more,
The both
in a
played.
huge match. Mark Kirsten takes us through the drama of last night.
I'm the carpenter played in the league.
Moment. And when Walsall and Port Vale stepped onto the respective pitches last night, the players of each knew one of them would be top of the table before they meet this weekend. Both games never really came to life until the second halves, and it was Port Vale who conceded first against Cheltenham, George Miller scoring for the Robins. That was in the 53rd minute, and Vale was still top of League Two, but not for long. 55 miles away up the M5, Sadler's fans may have sensed something that then rubbed off onto the players, as in the 57th minute, Walsall also went ahead in remarkable fashion, with Taylor Allen scoring directly from a corner. And that changed everything. In that moment, Walsall were top, ahead of Vale on goal difference. It seemed to spur them on. They doubled their lead 7 minutes later, with George Hall finding the bottom corner. Back down the M5, Port Vale, now second in the table, were trying to find a precious equaliser, but were struggling. Could it be that another Midlands club would help them out? Back at the Bescot, Notts County grabbed a goal back from the spot to make it 2-1. But any hope Port Vale would pin on a Notts comeback appeared short-lived. Nathan Lowe added a third for the Saddlers to make it 3-1. Then at 33 minutes past 9 in the evening, County got a second. Could Walsall hold on, or could Vale get an equaliser? Walsall was still top, but 3 minutes later, at 9:36 p.m, 4 minutes into stoppage time, Ronan Curtis unleashed an unstoppable finish to make it 1-1 and preserve Vale's status as league leaders, with both games finishing shortly after. Walsall and Port Vale now meet on Saturday in what could be a season.
Oh, they're meeting each other on Saturday.
We've got a lot of big games tonight, including Wolves, Villa and Birmingham, just to name a few. We'll let you know how they got on tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck to all our teams. Now, we saw Lee Comley there live in Wolverhampton. The camera lens steadily getting wetter and wetter, isn't it?
It definitely needed an umbrella, didn't it? So, yeah.
Should we see what's happening?
I think we should. Here's Nick with the forecast.
ITV Central Weather is sponsored by Octopus, the renewable energy company.
Hello, the rain moving in now, bringing to an end a couple of quieter weather days. So still this morning, but the weather for the rest of the week characterised by spells of heavy rain and strong winds. So wetter, windier now from this area of low pressure. That does clear away
So we'll be going into town in the
tomorrow
rain.
morning, but then low pressure developing over us tomorrow is going to bring some further heavy rain and a squeeze in the isobars with the potential for strong disruptive winds going into tomorrow evening and night. Let's start with this evening though, and some of this rain is going to be on the heavy side, certainly windier than it's been so far this week. It does begin to clear through though later in the night, so most of us up and about tomorrow morning it'll be dry and so much milder, close to freezing the past couple of mornings, but we're talking, well, plus 12 degrees in some spots to start the day tomorrow, so it'll feel so different. With lighter winds and a few sunny spells for time, it will be quieter tomorrow morning, but then through the afternoon, cloud increasing, the wind picking up again, and outbreaks of heavy rain will be moving back in, bringing to an end what will be a mild day. I just want to put on the wind gusts going into tomorrow evening though. We could see some gusts in the range of 40 to 50 miles an hour with Met Office yellow warning, particularly across parts of Staffordshire as the rain clears away, further squally showers, and it turns colder again by Friday morning. And then late Friday and into the weekend, another developing, strengthening area of low pressure brings more wind and rain. Something to play for in exactly where this is going. And you'll see the heaviest rain and the strongest winds and the biggest impacts as a result. But already the Met Office has a yellow heads-up weather warning for rain and wind for the weekend. We'll get closer to the weekend and keep you updated.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Central
We've both made a bit of a mistake tonight.
Have we?
Yeah, because we're walking into town later and neither of us have got an umbrella.
I'm hoping someone will lend me one, fingers crossed, because Lee needed one, didn't he? That is it from us tonight. I've got your late news and it's on at the later time of 10:50, so hope to see you then.
Yeah, we will. See you later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.